unemployment reaching a record high of 32.5%, and youth unemployment sitting at well over 50%.
South African youth currently face quite a number of challenges, and there seems to be that unemployment crisis that they're also facing.
Unemployment has spiked during the pandemic.
What is being done to stimulate job creation?
R. Triple R. Reduce, reuse and recycle. It aims to better the public health, job creation, energy and resource conservation, tackling 11 UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as decent work and economic growth, to improve the life on land and below water.
The community directed us to Enactus-UL Pty Ltd. as they had interest, skills, and expertise in recycling and upcycling. Enactus-UL then partnered with Enactus-UL Pty Ltd. We, Enactus-UL, further researched the effects of backyard waste burning and learned from the Human Rights Watch that smoke pollutants from backyard burning trash are easily inhaled, causing increased risk of heart disease, aggravate respiratory ailments such as asthma, rashes, nausea, or headaches, and from the World Health Organization that 41% of global waste is burned openly and 4.2 million premature deaths were attributed to outdoor air pollution in 2016. And the effect of dumping it into streams, rivers, and ocean, being soil and water contamination with toxic chemicals, the death of animals on land and below sea life, depletion of oxygen in the ocean and marine life, and terrestrial life choke and get caught in the plastic. It is estimated in 2050 that there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. We were shocked by the findings and how people and the environment are impacted without them knowing. When we met with Enactus-UL Pty Ltd, we found the company was severely impacted by COVID-19. There were no operations and the business had collapsed. The only person left was the founder, Matema Tusaho. The business was no longer generating revenue, and our first instinct was for her to start generating revenue. Enactus-UL had an online meeting on how to tackle the challenge faced. Upon failing to access our Enactus funds from the institution, we then had to outsource. Previous research conducted by the Enactus team showed that glass jars are more popular and customers wanted more from the product range. We managed to lease her a glass cutter from a third party with an option to buy. We also assisted her to apply for COVID-19 relief funds and other competitions. The Limpopo Economic Development Agency granted her 30,000 Rand worth of funds.
The team further hosted online meetings to develop an independent and sustainable model for Tausijala. The outcomes of the meetings were then shared and discussed with Tausijala, with adjustments being made to suit the social enterprise better. A common ground was reached, and it was then time for the train to move. The task before all tasks was the completion of the site construction, cleaning, painting, and clearing of the site with the assistance of Enactus-UL. The beneficiary used some of the grant money to complete the building and also bought refuse bags. And the phases of the project were said as follows. Phase 1. Employment of sale representatives to sell refuse bags along with the services of waste collection from households in the community. Phase 2. Using of a cheap mode of transport to collect waste from these households. Phase 3. Sorting of wastes. Phase 4. Upcycling and recycling. We turned cement bags into laptop bags, beer bottles into drinking glasses, snack packaging into pencil cases, and bell papers, plastics and glasses were then taken to recycle centers. Phase 5. Creating a sustainable costing and remuneration model to better compensate the participants. And lastly, Phase 6. Reviewing the model and making changes and upscaling.
Enactus-UL team took the initiative of cleaning stream. We found that we had a lot more to do than collect waste from there. The team has planned to connect with Enactus UFPA as they have a project called ANAMA for insight and partnership for the goals. We are currently helping our beneficiary to source a professional accountant to give input on the operations and financial statements of the company, and also looking for an active investor who has a strong will and expertise to upscale and accelerate the Tausijala's business growth. We continue to raise awareness on our social media accounts, and we have also had interviews with Beta FM to raise awareness about reducing, reusing and recycling. The sales representatives are back in the field, and Veke Tausijala continues every Friday morning collecting waste from households. With our partnership, 9 people were employed, 8 employees empowered with communicating, active listening, problem solving and negotiation skills. 214 individuals are no longer at risk of toxic chemicals such as dioxins. Over 900 individuals became aware of the benefits of reducing, reusing and recycling using our community interactions, social media platforms and radio interviews. Reduced waste dumping in the stream and on land by over 400 kilogram waste. Greenhouse gas emission reduced and reduction in the landfills, which means we tackled 11 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with our project RRR.
Project Tihuku, a project formerly known to be centered around poultry farming. The project started in 2018 when the team made note of the few existing poultry farms in the Mankweng community. The team partnered with beneficiaries in hopes of improving the poultry farms and commercializing them and further penetrating into the main market. Knowledge and practical advice on how to run a business. In 2021, the team decided to adopt the same business model onto the refocus model. The aim of the model was refocused on students. Members of Enactus-UL would become co-owners of poultry farms and have them manage their businesses while directly benefiting from the profits. This required a partnership with Enactus South Africa, as they would fund the team with capital and startup costs, which later would be paid back by the team in installments of 10% of their monthly profits over an agreed duration. This refocus model was designed to mitigate the youth unemployment problem. This also meant that after graduating, students would have an additional source of income. which would sustain them post-tertiary studies. Our journey began the team seeking land. Unfortunately, the community guidelines and constitution as governed by the chief stated that land cannot be bought by just anyone in Mankweng unless you are a resident or form part of a lineage that owns land in the area. After a failed attempt to buy land, we then decided to use the initial beneficiary-based model, this time focusing on our members whom had interest in owning and managing poultry farms, and guiding them through the process. To ensure that this model worked, we revisited some of our beneficiaries, owner of Maponya KP Enterprise as well as Katlego Poultry. In 2018, KP Enterprise started with 77 chickens and is currently producing over 400 broilers per cycle and produces over 24,600 eggs per month. Alongside him, we have former member of Tihuku, who is our current secretary, Katlego Matloding. Owner of Katlego Poultry is a 21-year-old student who took the initiative to start during lockdown and is currently producing over 400 broilers per cycle. He further branched into crop farming and produces over 40,000 cabbages. This validated our need to start replicating this business model. Our present beneficiary members are located in various villages due to virtual learning as well as COVID. Matume, Melford and Sarah are all students who aim to also one day become the next KP Enterprise. The team makes frequent site visits to ensure that